Hello and welcome to the 158.360 Assignment 1 presentation by Group 2. We've been given the task of designing a system to aid actors and directors in learning and rehearsing a play. We decided an application would be the best approach here, but in order to access the online components which would allow the user to interact with other cast members, the user must log in. This is a fairly basic login screen with places for the user to enter their username and password, a box to remember them for next time, and a link to help them retrieve a lost password. This system would also work well as a tablet application, as this would allow the user to carry it around as they read their lines and rehearse. This is the main screen which will greet the user upon logging in. The play shown is the last play the user was reading, with the actual script taking up much of the screen. The line the system is up to is shown in yellow in the script. Along the top we have some familiar menus: File, Edit, View and Insert. There are some that are unique to this application: Filter and Rehearse. Underneath the top bar we have the script navigation bar, which shows what act and scene the user is currently viewing in red. Clicking on any one of these buttons will immediately move the play to the corresponding part. On the left we have the filters. A user may want to filter the play in various ways, for example showing all the lines their character has. There's a reset button to remove all current filters. Below that we have the rehearse panel. When the user has selected solo on the drop down box at the top of the panel, they are shown with the character they are playing, and the other characters in the scene are taken up by the system. When the Start Rehearsal button is clicked, the play is started from the current point. The user reads their part and the system follows along, playing the other parts and prompting if the user forgets their lines. Along the bottom we have controls for stopping and starting the rehearsal. The system can recognize both the individual voice of a user and what they are saying. It can compare this to what is in the script and be aware of script deviations. The system can also read out loud the script in a text-to-speech manner, or from a pre-recorded rehearsal. The file menu has the kind of options that are normally in a file menu: options for saving, opening and closing a file, importing and exporting a play, viewing recent plays or creating a new one, system settings, and exit. The edit menu may be also fairly familiar to many people. Undo, redo, cut, copy and paste should all be familiar to those who have used computers before. Many of these will be greyed out for those that do not have edit permissions on a play. The view menu unsurprisingly shows different views of the play. The active view is currently highlighted in red to show it's the active one. The director view will show various other cues that may be relevant to a director, and the crew view will highlight cues that are pertinent to crew members. There's also an XML view which will allow a user to view the underlying XML directly if they wish to. The rehearsal log is the log of each rehearsal and how much the user has deviated from the script. If the user would like to turn line numbers in the play on or off, there is a control for that here. And finally there is a control to view the play full screen. This can also be achieved by clicking the button in the bottom right of the play. Insert is the next control on the top bar. Many of these will be greyed out unless the user has the right permissions. The user can insert acts, scenes, characters and text elements. Non-text elements such as the length of a dramatic pause can be added here so the system knows not to auto-prompt because of a long silence, and the user can add any notes they wish to. The final one, audio to script, is a little more interesting. This allows the user to take a recorded rehearsal and add the audio from this to the script itself. The system has a voice recognition component, and it can recognize individual lines and associate these sound bites with the lines in the script. The user can elect to let the system do this automatically, or they can manually do it themselves, or they can let the system do it automatically and then make minor adjustments manually. This allows the user to rehearse by themselves but still hear the voices of the people they will be acting the play with. When the user elects to make a recording of a rehearsal by clicking the record button in the bottom panel, they are presented with this screen. It's very simple, just requiring a name and a file destination with the browse button to locate a good place. The system will have a default for this. The user can also elect to tag any errors they make and allow the system to prompt them for any forgotten lines. Here we have the result of clicking on File and then Settings. We have three tabs. In this case the Voice tab is highlighted. This allows the user to set up voice recognition in the system by reading out a selection of text which the system then analyzes. There are only two main buttons: Start and Reset. The second tab is for the user to change their prompts. They can decrease or increase the length of silence before the system prompts them, depending on how disposed they are to take long dramatic pauses. They can also record a cue to request a line from the system, perhaps just the word line. Finally, there's Permissions tab, showing the various permission levels of participants and allowing an administrator to add users or edit permissions. A user can create a rehearsal with other players by selecting multi-user rehearsal from the drop-down box in the rehearsal panel and clicking on Create. They are then presented with this screen. They can choose the name of the rehearsal, where to start the rehearsal and where to finish using the drop-down boxes, and if they want to add scenes in non-chronological order, they can. Scenes in the rehearsal are displayed and can be deleted. When the user is satisfied with their selection, they can just click the Create button, or if they want to save their selections for later, they can click the Save button. They're then taken to this screen. The name of the rehearsal is at the top. On the left we have a list of characters to be played, and on the right characters that have been selected, and any other participants. The creator of the rehearsal is shown with the subscript controller. When the controller elects to start the rehearsal, any characters that have not been selected by a user will be played by the system. The controller can hand over the control to another user by clicking on the Make Controller button. This is what users who are not the controller will see. There is no Make Control button, and the Start button instead says I'm ready. Clicking the I'm ready button will turn the icon from red to green and show the controller that they're prepared to start the session. The title at the top is also a drop-down box allowing the user to choose a rehearsal from a list. When a multi-user rehearsal is started, again the system follows along with the reading, playing any parts that have not been selected and prompting if any actors need their next line. It could also compare the rehearsal to the script and make the actors aware of any errors they made.